Good morning. My name is Nur Isha binti Anwar. So I will start the presentation with the introductions. So when we talk about literatures, we are not just talking about stories. We also talking about human experiences, emotions, and values. Literature also give students the chance to see the world through different eyes, to understand feelings, and to express themselves in meaningful ways. So the main goal of this assignment is to design classroom activities that make literature come alive and activity that help students to think, feel, and not just read or memorize. By exploring various literary forms such as short stories, novels, poems, and dramas, students also can develop both um, language skills and intelligence, and then each activity is designed to be interactive and student centered, encouraging learners to engage with the text through imagination and reflections. And then when students are allowed to express their thoughts and emotions, learning become more personal and powerful. Finally, these approaches support the aims of KSSM English language curriculum, which promotes communication, creativity, and personal growth. Literatures become a bridge, which is something that is connecting language learning with life, values, and emotions. So, in short, literature is not just about reading words. It's more about discovering meaning, feeling empathy, and using language to connect with the world. And that's all for the introduction. Thank you for listening.
This activity is called Story Map and Creative Ending. It uses the Story Ferris Fair to build students' reading and writing skills. The lesson begins with a short video showing the story to help students understand the main idea. After watching, the teacher asks guiding questions such as, "What do you usually do at a fair?" Or, "How would you feel if your friend couldn't join?" This question is to activate their prior knowledge and prepare them for reading. During the reading stage, students work in groups to read different parts of the story. Each group is given a story map template to help them organize information. To make the thoughts more engaging, each group receives different characters, settings, and conflicts from the story. This will encourage them to think critically and explore different points of view. In the post-reading stage, students use the information from their reading to complete the story map. They identify the characters, settings, and problem based on the version given to them. Then, they will work together to create a new and creative ending, imagining what could happen if the characters decided to keep the ticket. This part allows students to use their imagination and practice creative writing while showing understanding of the story.
Good morning, and my name is Sanjina Fiona, and I will be presenting my part, which is the second activity, and my activity is Working Arthur, which is a debate-style discussion based on the movie or the book itself. And the main focus of this activity is theme of trust and betrayal, and it aims to help pupils express their opinions clearly and support their ideas with reasons. So before I begin the lesson, I will show pupils an image of the round table as I've put here, and I will then ask them what does it symbolizes as. There's in this part their answer will usually link to equality and unity, so the discussion sets the content. After the discussion, I will introduce 3 simple debate rules, which is listen before responding, speak politely, and give reasons for every opinion. And we will move on to the pre-lesson, which will take about 10 minutes. And in this stage, people are divided into 3 groups of 4, for an example. So each group, they will receive 1 debate question, which is such as, was Lancelot loyal to Arthur, or should Arthur have trusted Mordred? And they will also receive short extracts from the story, and they will use the text as evidences to propose. The purpose here is to let them think critically before the debate begins, so that it will support more of their opinion or their reasoning. Next, I will present the WOW lesson stage after the pre-lesson, which will also take about 10 minutes. And in this stage, each group will present its arguments to the class, and the other groups will be responding to the argument by agreeing or disagreeing, such as counter arguments itself. So they must explain their answers using phrases such as I agree because, or I disagree because, or to be polite, they will have to say I value your opinion, or I acknowledge your opinion, but I think blah blah blah. So that will be one of the main things that I will focus on, and this stage will train them to listen carefully, speak confidently, and justify their reviews and also others' reviews. And during the post lesson, which will only take about 5 minutes, after the debate, they will reflect on the theme itself, and we will ask them simple but meaningful questions such as what does this story teach us about? Does it teach us about trust? Or does it just help us with our general life? And this will help pupils connect the story to real life relationships or or friendships. And they understand that the trust is valuable and betrayal has serious consequences. And in this stage, it will also implement into themselves that it is important to build trust with the right person. So in short, this activity actually encourages my pupils to communicate respectfully, uses evidence from the things that they receive, which is in my case is the text, and develop critical thinking skills before making assumptions themselves. This also helps them to introduce the moral lessons in King Arthur, especially the importance of trust and loyalty. That's all from my part. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alison and I will present activity 3, which is Said I Am Poetry. Form is creative poetry writing, which is metaphor, repetition, imaginary, symbolism, and alliteration, tone, provocation, and enjambment. The skill is writing and reading. Mode is individual and interactive group. The teaching aid that we can use in this activity is word, emotion card, picture of object, drawing paper, and color pencil. Firstly, in set induction, which is in 5 minutes, first the teacher greet pupils and ask about the feeling. 2. Show picture of broken or old object and discuss the feeling. 3. Introduce them to the poem called Said I Am. In the pre-lesson, which is in 10 minutes, first the teacher explains the poem, use literary device. 2. Display and read the poem aloud. 3. Explain literary device with simple example like metaphor, repetition, imaginary, symbolism, alliteration, and personification. Next, in one lesson in 20 minutes, first the student choose a picture of an old or broken object. 2. Write a short I am poem using at least 2 literary devices. 3. Decorate the poem with color or drawing. 4. Paste poem on art wall like the creativity of the poem that student already write. The teacher can put it on the wall. 5. In group, read line aloud and guess the emotion. Next, in the post lesson, which is 10 minutes, first the students share object and explain literary device use. 2. Teacher give feedback and highlighting creative example. Lastly, Enclosure, which is in 5 minutes. Firstly, reflection question like, what did you learn about expressing feeling through object? Or which literary device was your favorite? 2. Summarize poetry role in expressing emotion. And lastly, end with motivated quote about creativity to the pupils. Thank you. That's all for me.
Good morning, my name is Nur Isha binti Anwar. So today I would be presenting for my first activity. So for this activity, I chose a creative writing lessons which is based on the drama text Rubber Skins for Form 1 students. This activity is called as What If the Stories Ended Differently, where students get the chance to imagine and write their own versions of the story's endings. For the interaction, which is we call as set inductions. To begin with the lessons, I will grade the students and briefly recalls the ending of Property Skins. I will ask them some questions like, do you remember how the story ends? The queen guesses Rumpelstiltskin's name and then he disappears forever. But what if she didn't? And what if Rumpelstiltskin changed his mind? So this question is meant to trigger their curiosities and imagination. And then after that, I will show some pictures of the characters on the slides, which is to help them to recall the story visually. And then for the wild activity, students will work in pair to create their own alternative endings. I will say some things like, now it's your turn to be writers. Work together and write about 5 to 8 sentences to describe how you would end the story differently. You can make it funny, sad, magical, anything you want. So during this time, I will walk around and check their ideas and give encouragements such as, that's an interesting twist, or I love how you made the queen braver this time. So these steps allow them to express their creativity and also practice sentence constructions in context. So for the post activity, when everyone is done, I will invite a few pair to share their new endings aloud. I would give positive feedback to motivate them, such as, that's a wonderful version, and I like how you gave Rumpelstiltskin's a kinder side. And then finally, I will wrap up by saying, this shows us that stories can have endless endings, and just like how our imagination never ends. For the assessment focus, this activity focuses on 3 things, which is creativity and originality, understanding of the stories and its moral, and then lastly, sentence structures and coherence. So overall, this activity is not only strengthens students' writing skills, but also helps them to think creatively, collaborate, and enjoy learning literatures in a fun and meaningful way. And that's all for me. Thank you for listening.
In this part, I'm going to explain about Activity 5 called Pass the Poem Challenge. This activity is a fun group writing game and it will take about 30 minutes. The text I'm going to use is a poem called I Wonder. This activity helps pupils practice both writing and reading. They will work in groups and they will also use A4 papers, markers, pens, and a poem starter sheet for them to write their poem, and I will also show the poem itself on the projector as a reference for them to read. First, I will introduce the poem I Wonder. I will explain that this poem is about curiosity, like asking questions and thinking about things around us. Next, pupils will form groups of 4 to 5. Then I will ask some simple questions like, what are some things you wonder about, or what questions do you often think about? This helps pupils get ready to write their own poem using their own ideas. Now we start the main activity. Each group will write their own version of the poem. After writing one stanza or one short part, they will pass their paper to another group. The next group continues the poem. Each line of the poem must begin with the words "I wonder." Groups keep writing and passing the paper until the poem is about 8 to 10 lines long. When they finish, groups practice reading their poem and acting it out. This helps them prepare for sharing later. At the end, 1 or 2 pupils from each group will read the poem while the rest act it out. Each group will perform their poem in front of the class. Finally, as the teacher, I will give feedback on their ideas, creativity, and performance. That's all for me. Thank you.